Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I am Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Christopher G. Mohr, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we review Mad God, coming to Shudder. With me this week is my co-host, Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. I get to watch cool movies.
Cool movies. Cool movies. I like that. All right. Also joining us this week is Crystal Cleveland, the living dead girl. How you doing, Crystal?
I am doing so well. I can't wait to discuss this movie, especially now. I think this is going to be so much fun.
Well, I saw that you had a debut of a project you're working on in Atlanta over the weekend. How'd that go?
Oh, yeah. It was wonderful. It was really great. There were a lot of people there, and the project came out really wonderful. And then they had performances. They had a song that a rapper and musician made for it, so they did performances, and it was really really good. So I mean, as we have a lot of good people in this. Actually, I don't know if he was in it. It was one of the guys. No, yeah, it was good.
What's the title of it? What's the title?
Dead Serious.
Dead Serious. Are you dead serious? Yes. All right.
I am dead.
Also,
deadly serious.
Deadly serious. Even better. All right. Also joining us is award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Mohr. How you doing, sir?
Yes.
You're so animated.
Fine. That's me. Stop motion.
No.
I mean, that was not bad. That's not bad.
I was more go motion, right, Jeff?
Oh my God.
I guess.
It was a little bit of blurriness.
I was getting the blur.
You look more like
I was getting the blur.
Getting the blur.
I'm getting such a blur.
Oh man. I was going to say something, but Jeff said it better than I ever could, so we'll go with that. All right. We are going to review Mad God. What we're going to do is start off with our first impressions. That will be spoiler-free, and then we'll dive into the discussion about this film. I don't know where the spoilers are going to come from. I guess they're out there somewhere. And then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5. And our favorite scene. And of course, we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others that we have on the site. And if you do, please hit the like, the subscribe, or share with a friend. Right, Crystal? Share with a friend.
I think you might really want to share this with a friend after you hear what Doc has to say.
And then leave your comments down below. Oh my! All right, bury the lead. All right, let's jump into the card and we'll get things going. All right, Mad God is available streaming on Shudder beginning June 16th of 2022. Written and directed by Phil Tippett. The cast includes Alex Cox, Niketa, Roman, Satish, Ratakonda. Synopsis: a corroded dividing bell descends amidst a ruined city, and the assassin emerges from it to explore a labyrinth of bizarre landscapes inhabited by freakish denizens. Boom. Yeah. Let's before we get into this, let's start off with who is Phil Tippett? Who wants to answer that question? Is it Jeff or Crystal?
Jeff or not me.
Or Christopher.
Jeff.
Visual effects phenomena. I mean,
Phenomena. We like that, right?
Well, the guy. I can't count them fast enough. Let's see.
I knew he had it up.
4, 5, 6 nominations for Oscars, and 2 of those were winners for Dragonheart or not for Dragonheart, for Jurassic Park and Star Wars Episode 6, which probably means Christopher should be talking about this, but also nominated for Dragon Slayer, Willow.
He worked on Dragon Slayer
and Starship Troopers. So,
he worked on RoboCop,
and he made the.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he made the transition from being a stop motion animator to the CGI stuff right around the time of Jurassic Park, as I understand it.
Yeah,
and added that capability to his studio.
Well, yeah, and actually they brought him back for Force Awakens. So when you saw like the chests, the space chests, where the monsters are fighting each other,
He did that again.
he did that again.
That's
I mean,
cool.
he's done everything from the robot and RoboCop. I mean, a lot of the stop motion animation things. I mean, he's done those little things here and there, and then he changed over into some visual effects stuff. But yeah, he's a pretty amazing dude.
Yep. Piranha, Howard the Duck,
Golden Child.
House 2, Second Story. Yeah, all these winners. All right.
Okay, see, Howard the Duck is amazing.
Howard the
Okay,
Duck
I
is
see
amazing.
what you're trying to do. But I'm not going to be
What? What am I doing?
No.
What am I doing?
I
What am I
see
doing?
you.
What am I
I
doing?
see
He's
you.
setting his case. Setting his
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
No.
Most importantly, he was creature designer and animator for Piranha.
There you go. Most importantly.
Piranha is not bad. I'm sorry.
It is.
It's okay. It's not bad. Like, I mean, it's not Piranha 3D.
Or 3
Just
double
saying.
D.
3 double D. I know.
Oh my God! All right, let's
Yeah.
get into this. Let's get our first impressions of Mad God. We'll just do it in order, counterclockwise here. Jeff, sir,
Mm-hmm.
what's your first impression of Mad God?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Doc. So this is one of those movies that I'm going to have to watch again. The animation is phenomenal. I think it's a visual coup de grace or something. I can't think of the word I want. But in terms of the plot, I really have a very vague idea of the plot. However, I felt like most of the stuff I was watching was sort of like the next extension of everything going on as I see it in my world today.
Mhm.
It's just like what's going to happen. So a lot of social commentary mixed in there, I think. But I want to watch it again because like I said, I have a hard time concentrating on multiple things. I'm very focused, and I could only focus on the visuals because they were just kept throwing stuff at me. It was hard for me to fit that into a story. So I want to watch it again, and this time, meld everything together.
Do some melding, mind melding.
Okay.
Worth
Yeah.
a second watch.
All right,
Mhm,
worth
yeah.
a second watch. All right, Crystal, what was your first impression of Mad God?
Okay, so I didn't know that much about this film going in. Know very little about Phil. I'm not as good with y'all about directors' name. I mean, not just directors, special effects people. I don't know all of their names, but I started watching this and I was like, I've seen this before. And I think I've seen one of the shorts or something about this because I was like, I have absolutely seen this. I really, really loved this movie. It's not going to be for everyone. I understand that. I see that. It's really sad. It's really, really sad. You follow, I don't want to give too much away until we start to get into spoilers, but it's definitely a commentary on our society and the things that humans have done throughout history. And it's a whole circle. If you notice, the whole thing becomes a circle. He comes down with this map and he is going through basically hell on earth, I would say. I'd say hell is earth essentially in this. And I mean, what the visuals are sad and disturbing and gross and odd and weird, but I mean, it could be weirder. There's stop motion for sure, but then there actually is the use of some people. There was one part I got a little like thrown off kilter because there's like these weird long nails or something. I don't know. There's so much weirdness, but honestly, it makes a lot of sense to me. And just looking at it, I'm like, yeah, I can see how he can see the world like this because we're horrible. Humans are horrible. We're all horrible. So I found this very compelling, very interesting, very sad, and really beautiful. Yeah.
Sad, compelling, and beautiful.
Mhm.
All right. I like that. I like that. Christopher G. Mohr, sir. Your first impression of Mad God.
Well, first of all, it's like, did I fully understand the story? No. But I didn't need to. I think this film is pretty amazing. This film has more level of craftsmanship and effort put into it than all the films on Shudder. It takes a good amount of time and meticulous nature to be able to create something on this level, regardless of how you feel about it. Visually, it's like watching a grotesque Northern Lights. It's like elements of David Lynch, elements of Terry Gilliam, elements of Fritz Lang's Metropolis, and it mixes all those things together a little bit, and it's grotesque. It's weirdly gorgeous. And to me, it's like a gory, weird Fantasia to some degree. You don't go to Fantasia because some deep ingrained storyline. It's because of the visuals, and this is it. It's like a kaleidoscope of all kinds of different forms of animation and visuals and crazy. And it doesn't skimp on the gore. Because it's just got all kinds of weird, crazy creatures and pussy things and all kinds of weird stuff. Like, oh god, that's gross. I think my only. by the end, I don't know if I understood. I can understand the sort of the how it sort of like has variations that sort of like tie into where world's going with war and all that stuff. But I think my only critique is, I think the only thing that kind of took me out of it is when they use like real people, or they had that kind of stuff, and then that when it kind of took me out. I kind of wish everything was like on that level of animation. Because when the weird guy with the long fingernail showed up,
I was like, what?
I was like, what is? This doesn't fit with everything else. In the same way that sometimes you see live action films and the stop motion kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. But I don't know. I was mesmerized by this film. Mesmerized. I couldn't take my eyes off of it because of just and I know part of it's probably because I'm a filmmaker and I could never make anything like this. This is there's like so many epic vistas and all kinds of things. There's like so many shots where they with not only you moving stop motion wise, but you're also moving the camera around it as well. And that takes a lot of thought process that I don't have. I don't think I ever had that level of attention to anything. I always wanted to do stop motion or animation. I wanted to be like a Disney animator when I was a kid, but then I realized, I don't think I have the patience. And considering this film was like, 30 years, took him 30 years to complete it. There was a little bit of a long time where he took off, but, and I give him kudos because there are not many people in this universe that can make something on this level. And, it may not be for everyone, but I loved it. I didn't really need to have any kind of storyline to understand. It was just watching all these visuals happen and on the screen and the attention to detail and craziness and the weirdness. And there's parts that are almost like, it's almost like if you made a grotesque version of Minions at one point. So anyway, I really just the visual kaleidoscope of images and animation, I thought I was fully mesmerized by, and also just appreciative of very talented individuals like Phil Tippett that made something like this that not everybody would want to make or not everybody might be into, but he put his heart and soul into it, and you can see in every frame of it.
Yep.
All right, so let's clear something up. When they mean this is not for everybody, they mean me. I do not like this movie. I do not like this movie. I appreciate the imagination and the skill. And it ends pretty quickly there. This is no Fantasia. No Fantasia. That was no, sir. But I struggled with this movie multiple times, and it just has nothing to get me involved in it other than the visuals, and the visuals for me are wear out after about 10 minutes, and it's just like, okay, these are great, but let's do something with them, and I don't get that. I don't feel, it's just to me, it's a waste. It's a missed opportunity to do something really special with all this. And oh my gosh, I really dislike this. I don't like the tone. And what's interesting is that when I'm glad you mentioned when the faces show up there, and it's not for a big long time, but then when I checked out. That was it for me. At that point, the rest of the movie was just a blur. I was having a hard enough time, and I could not get into this. I could not focus on it. This movie didn't capture my imagination. It didn't inform me. It didn't engage me. It has no highs and lows, like Fantasia does. The music swells. There's none of that for you. I mean, yeah, sure. There's a lot of imagination. There's some insanely crazy things in here. But I make it a painting. I'll look at the painting. I don't want to watch this movie. I don't ever want to watch it again, Jeff. Holy crap!
I watched it twice. I did watch it twice.
Well, I tried. But no, this movie is not for me. I did not like it. Christopher, listen to what Christopher has to say, because he's far more intelligent about the creativity part of it, this movie is incredibly creative, and the imagination that goes into it is insane. To me, I mentioned on the pre-show Pink Floyd, because I love The Wall, and the imagination of all the visuals that go along with the Wall, and the animation that's behind some of it, and then if you ever saw the concert, all the stage props and stuff, it reminds me a lot of that, but really grotesque and gross and gory.
That's why it's so awesome.
But it doesn't have anything to go along with it.
Okay, here's the thing.
Hang on one second. Let's get into spoilers. We're going to dive into spoilers. So if you haven't seen
not anything we can say give away.
Go ahead, Crystal.
So here's the thing. This movie is brilliant. It's brilliant. He touches on, yes, war. We saw the Nazis. We obviously touch on freaking animal cruelty. We touch on how we treat our labor force. I mean, every scene has a purpose. It actually all makes sense and all means something. And then it's just how humans, you don't see it. I know. I'm going to spin my wheels, because you either see it, I think, or you don't. I mean, like, you have the chimpanzee that's there being experimented on or tortured. I mean, you have the little furry little hair, like Christopher mentioned, the minions that are being, and that also, focuses somewhat on slavery, how we've enslaved, the populate, I mean, that's something that we've done throughout our history. And then at the end, if you notice, it goes back into a circle. It's just brilliant. It's just brilliant.
I think a lot of those are said with like a frame. I mean, they're there.
You don't get the impact though with the frame.
I didn't get the impact with the film. I think I would have gotten the impact more with
some of it had to do with like the sex industry too. There's just so much. There's so much to it. I was just watching this, and it's the reason I didn't actually completely finish it the second time through. I just started it over because I just wanted to check the beginning to make sure I was sure in my head about this whole circle thing. And I was like, this is just it just makes a lot have to me. Maybe I have the mind of a psychopath too, and that's why it makes sense to me. I don't know.
Well, I might have been craving something a little more narrative in it.
Yeah,
There's no narrative in it.
Anybody who's craving anything narrative wise,
Yeah.
this is not going to be your film. There's really, to be literally story wise, I don't. Yeah, it doesn't really follow any kind of logical narrative.
There's no dialogue.
There's even no dialogue.
It doesn't have to have dialogue. I mean, you can tell a story without dialogue, but it just doesn't necessarily have a through narrative. And for me, that's I struggle with getting beyond that if it doesn't have that. Like if you go back to the art analogy, abstract art it's the same thing. I appreciate it, but at the same time, it doesn't have the same emotion that some classic artists do. So for me, it's just not the type of storytelling I enjoy. Visually, sure, but if it's a movie and it doesn't have the narrative that I crave out of watching a movie, sitting down and enjoying and observing, it's just. I mean, I can. I mean, to me, a movie that has just some people dialoguing is as creative and imaginative as what we see here. So they're, what I mean. But it has to have that narrative, that a dialogue or something, or characters. Something inside of it.
I think it's just I think this isn't meant to be narrative. It's meant to be a commentary on society and people. Humans were horrible, and that's why it's so gross.
But I don't need this movie to tell me
and,
that. I could just turn on the news nowadays. I don't.
Then
need something a little more constructive if that's what it's trying to tell me.
Yeah, but I mean, even so, I think it's like a dystopian acid trip of a movie where it's just all these interesting,
I would agree
beautifully
with that.
grotesque images that sort of like, and creatures and visuals. I mean, this is on the level of Dune or any of these kind of sci-fi apocalyptic type movies where there's visuals. That one part where the cars like driving around the whole inner cube thing is like, I mean, there's things like that are just like so like epically just beautiful and just crazy and imaginative. I don't know. I was blown away by the images in this.
Yeah, I was kind of over the images within like 20 minutes, and it felt like I was getting. I was like, okay, to me it would have worked better as a short.
Partially too, he is talking about like he is saying like I think I don't know what his religion is or whatever, but he is kind of saying clearly God hates us or has like, because you notice the one scene where that creature opens it up and it's this beautiful, peaceful neon world. You could equate that to the Garden of Eden if you wanted to. I mean, there's a lot in this movie. Let me just
to be honest, I wasn't, unlike Crystal, I wasn't trying to really pull anything major out of this. I was just blown away by the visuals and the haunting imagery. That sort of like plague doctor creepy thing.
Yes, and with the blowing so cool.
It's on the level of like Del Toro and Tim Burton. There's things like that I visually I will think about for years to come. There's things in this that are just really gory and crazy and weird, and it has that it almost like it feels like if Terry Gilliam went full horror, you would get some of these things in here, and it also has that Tim Burtonness of like, but not like, it has a quirkiness too about some of this stuff, like the whole thing where you see like the hairy minions, what I call them, that are walking around. They're just getting knocked down and crashed and rolled over and things like that. They're just it's just like so many things like that. And you go to each of these individual words, or like the war world part where everything's just exploding and just I don't know, there's just things like that. And I think also as a filmmaker, I'm thinking about the artistry behind that, like, because there's a lot of things like, this is not CGI, but they shot like a lot of the fire and sparks and stuff. A lot of that stuff was real, and they had to create that in the moment, and then just the movement of certain things, so many different layers of things, whether it's things moving in the distance or up close and other things moving around it. There's things like that. The artistry that you need to create this hurts my brain. And it
hurts my brain too, but in a far different way.
Well, but I mean, it's fine if you shut your brain off and it doesn't work for you. But for me, I was in it from the get-go. I just thought it was just.
I was looking forward to
Blew me
this.
away.
This was on the top of my list of things that we were going to review, and it quickly lost me going in. I was like, Jeff, you've been quiet. Jump in here.
Well, for me, it was just it was so visually dense. I mean,
it was
I
exhausting.
was so amazed that I mean, I could. Well, I meant, you know what I mean.
You know what I mean.
In each screen, there was so much in each shot that I couldn't take it all in. You know, it was like overload. So that's another reason I want to watch it again. I'll probably watch it again just to look at all the detail and all that stuff and the ideas behind that. So I'm kind of with Christopher in that I have a general idea of, I think, what they were talking about, but very general. For me, it's the visuals, and it's kind of what you're saying. I'm going to use the word dense because there's so much in each picture. It's not like there just was so much to look at. I get overwhelmed by that. I love visual films, and there was just so much to take in.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I feel like
it was overwhelming.
This would work better as art, not a film. This would work better. You know, the imagination would work better as something you could absorb.
Well, film, it is art,
but not.
I know what you're saying.
I mean, no. I mean, like a painting.
A painting.
I know.
I know film is art, but that's not what I mean by using that word there.
No, I just totally disagree.
Animation is what brings it to life. I think if you just put a frame of this and throw it on the wall, it's not going to have the same impact of actually seeing the things move around and do what they're doing.
Yeah.
So,
I wish I.
It's like saying just leave the food on the table. I don't want to taste it.
I wish I agreed.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
I wish you did too. I'm really sad that you.
It really just. I mean, to me it was exhausting. Dense is a great word, but it's not I don't use it in the same way as.
And you know what? And you know what, Doc? I will say there's been times I've been to film festivals and I've done we've done this too, where it's like the alternative movie block, and it's just a bunch of like artsy fartsy visuals and stuff, and I'm like, I can't watch a lot of these. And normally I'm like that, I guess, but this one, I don't know, it worked for what he was trying to do, and it doesn't necessarily have to have some normal narrative to make it work. I think there's enough sort of life in the story and how it plays out in all these unique and imaginative worlds and places and creatures and vehicles and there's beauty in the grotesque in this, which is a rarity sometimes. This is like it's like the grittiest of music videos to some degree. It's like if you
said that,
I mean it has that to it, and it may not have the Pink Floyd music, but it doesn't necessarily. It plays to its own tune and how it tells how it unfolds all these weird visuals from beginning to end. It may not be for everybody. I mean, it is one of those things that'd be one of those things you could be doing stuff around the house and watching it. It's not one of those things you have to watch intently to understand or have any kind of understanding. I know by then it's like I don't really understand what happened, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
To me, I've never wanted to turn something off so bad in my life.
I'm so sad.
This was like, I mean, I was like, it was intriguing at first, and then by the time they get to this thing where they sit down at the theater and everything, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't
where they
handle
sit
it.
Down
at the theater and they start pulling the thing out
for the dissection.
And I was like, okay. I gotta turn this off. This is dumb. I can't handle this anymore.
Once again, that's like
the beauty was gone.
Look at how humans we watch all this horrible. It's just I get it.
Yeah,
if you don't, it's like you either you don't. It doesn't have to affect you or
I literally I couldn't wait to turn this damn thing off.
So you put the mad in Mad God, is that what you're saying?
There wasn't quite enough mad. It was disturbed, but not mad.
Fair enough. I mean, it is one of those things. It's like anything else. We all like certain types of films, and some things affect us and others don't. And so,
Yeah.
I can understand people being turned off by it, it just because it is, if they're wanting something that's got more of a detailed narrative, this is not for you.
Yeah, and that's definitely what I want out of my movies. So, I mean, I can do this, but not this much.
Yeah.
This was overwhelming. It was exhausting. I wasn't entertained. My eyes might have been, but I wasn't. I didn't get anything intellectual out of it, because I was bored. I was bored. I found this incredibly boring, and
I'd love to see this in a theater.
Yeah, me too.
Just to see the level of detail.
I would too, because that'd be a great place to nap. The lights would be out. I could put, hopefully it's a reclining chair.
You're a horrible person.
Why don't you just stay at home and leave the people that are really there to watch it? How about that?
I would have left the theater. I wouldn't have sat for this.
I could see the only I would think the only reason people would leave the theater is because they're so disturbed by what they're seeing. I mean, it's pretty creepy. The imagery is creepy, and it's weird, and it's odd.
What eyeballs?
And I think the imagery is so dark that for some people, it's really going to affect them. Like, it's going to kind of disturb their soul, and I think that's the point.
Big maggot cows with big balls. It's interesting.
It was like balls
with boobs.
Titty balls.
Yeah.
Were they boobs? They looked like balls. I could tell
they were boob balls. They were boob balls.
Because they pooped out. They pooped
That's
out.
exactly it.
They were titticles.
Yeah.
They were
both.
Balls.
Testicles?
Testicle titties.
Mm-hmm.
Breastaballs.
Or boobicles. I don't know.
Oh, okay. This could go on for a while.
Testiboobs.
Oh.
Breasticles.
Breasticles.
Yeah, breasticles. That's the best.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's it. That's the winner.
The kind of words you think up when you're in college.
Yeah.
Although there is that one part where the two monsters are shoveling poop.
Oh, yes.
Each other. When they're fighting each other, I kept thinking, this reminds me of the Space Test game from Star Wars. They're fighting each other.
The crazy thing that's eating the goo, and then I don't know what the hell's after that. It goes into these. I don't know. And then
It's recycling.
Mm-hmm. You're right. It is. But
it's all recycling of weird. The one where they crush the baby.
Yes.
And turn it into sparkles.
That's a baby turn sparkle.
That's how the universe is created.
I don't know.
Crush monster babies and turn them into glitter.
All right. Let's wrap this up. Please.
I did like the glitter. It was pretty.
Glitter. You like the glitter?
Mm-hmm. It was like the only like pure thing in death and cremation. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. All right, let's do our final thoughts. Our score. Oh shit! And our favorite scene. Jeff, you're up first. Y'all hate me.
So I think you should have an idea of what this is like, and I would agree with Crystal that it's not for everybody, but I think you should check it out just to get a look at. I'm amazed at that. In the first place, stop motion amazes me anyway, because I just can't even imagine having the stick-to-itiveness. I don't know. the tediousness of these small moves to do that. So just the whole concept of it I'm in awe of it. And this is an amazing example. And I will watch this again, probably more than once, because there's just, again, I'm going to call it visually dense in terms of how much is in a lot of the shots. I want to, I'm going to go 4.5, but I got to watch it some more. It might change. Just for visual.
Change up or
down? And the whole, it was sickening. It was sickening. No, I mean, it might go higher. The vision, some of the, what was going on and how it related to things, it was sickening.
Yep, that's The point.
to my heart, I guess. And that was, I think, the point. So, favorite scene? Well, that's going to be tough, but I'm going to just go with the start off with this thing going down this, the little capsule hanging from the cable, or like an elevator, what it was, and how far down it went and how it changed as you went down. And I was just like going, oh my God, this is going to be crazy. It just got me wound up. Looking forward to the rest of the movie.
Okay. All right. Crystal, you're up next. Your final thoughts, your score, your favorite scene.
Clearly, I like this. I don't call movies art very often, but I would call this
We've had
art.
discussions about that.
Yeah. So, but I would call this art. Like, it's just, I get that, it's always subjective. So I get that Doc isn't moved by it. He's not feeling it. And that's great. And that's the point of art, But I do think this movie has a message. Whether people see it or not, I don't know. I see the message, and I love it. I'm gonna give it a 5.
What the fuck? Okay.
Yep.
Said that out
I'm
loud.
gonna give it a 5.
Said that out loud. You
Yeah.
don't give stuff 5s. What the hell?
I know.
Well, you
But
gotta
it's-
I know.
There's just this is just in a totally different league. It's just a totally different league of film and filmmaking and message, and I just see.
It's a good way to say it.
Yeah, it's just my brain. If I'm not a filmmaker like Christopher, I can't wrap my head around making this, and if I did, my brain would probably explode. So I don't even want to think about. But just based on what I'm seeing, it just gives me chills. Like, I got chills watching it, and I was like, I'm not kidding. I was like this. Like, I was mesmerized by the screen. I don't know. It just really struck my heart,
Hypnotized.
Yeah. So,
Right.
yeah, no, please. I don't mind y'all making comments. I love it. My favorite, God, I don't know what my favorite scene is. I'll say the first scene that really struck me was, this is going to be a funny way to describe it, is the invisible man with the tail, with the worm tail. I call him the invisible man because he's wrapped like a mummy kind of thing. Yeah. But when his
comes out of the sewer thing,
yeah, he just really messed me up. And then what happens to him? That whole bit where the little cleaver, cleavers are so hot. But yeah, so yeah, that's when I knew what I was in for. Really, I was like, oh, okay, I see what's happening here. So that may not necessarily be my favorite or the best, but it's the one that captivated me, really. So
Beaver Cleaver.
yeah.
All right, Christopher G. Mohr, sir. Sir, master. What is your final thoughts, your score?
I haven't gone to that Jedi level yet. I don't know what you're talking about. This film is pretty amazing, and I think going into it, for anybody who's going to watch it, just go into it with an open mind, because this is not your normal narrative type story. It's a visual buffet of visuals and ideas, and done in a art form that not many people do anymore, because it's very tedious and time consuming and takes a lot of effort. And this is something he made over a period of 30 years. I mean, I think 20 of those years he kind of stopped, because he started around like RoboCop 2. And then when Jurassic Park came out, it's like, well, everybody's not wanting to do stop motion anymore. So he gave up. And then several years later, 20 years later, his friends like, hey, let's go back to this. And that's when he started. And they I think they did a crowdsourcing campaign. And this is the final product. And from beginning to end, just like Crystal and Jeff, I was mesmerized, captivated, enamored. This film is a viscerally beautiful masterpiece of stop motion animation grotesquerie that is on a level of craftsmanship that is mind blowing, and not many people can create what's been created here. And yeah, is it rough around the edges? Yeah. And my only probably critique would have to be the incorporated of regular live
Oh yeah.
um, stuff in it. There, those parts kind of took me out of it, took away a little bit of it. So, and it just made me wish. I wish they just made everything on the same animation style, because it to me it just showed you that if you were to do a live action version of this, it wouldn't work. The beauty and the mastery. This movie puts the art in art form in how it creates these different worlds, these creatures, lets these specific scenarios play out in ways that are just on the level. Like I mentioned, Fritz Lang's Metropolis. This is almost like a gritty, grotesque version of that in some ways, with the factory type stuff that happens in it. And it has a little bit of the, like I mentioned, Terry Gilliam and that sort of weird dystopian future world type thing, where it has almost like a weird, morbid humor around certain types of things. It also has the David Lynch type stuff, early David Lynch, back when he was, a regular artist and did stuff. So it has a lot of those things. And it may not be for everyone, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. I was like Crystal. My mouth was agape. I was like, wow. And as a filmmaker, bravo, kudos, because I and lots of people in this world could never make anything on this level, or put as much, effort into making it. Like I said, my only critique would be the live action stuff, and that kind of knocks it down a little bit from a full 5 that Crystal did. But I will give it a 4.5 like Jeff. I think it's one of the more outstanding things I've seen in a while, done in a form that's none like anything else. And I think you just have to take it in. It's the reason movies are made, for visual sake, and it's visually just crazy beautiful, in the most mad way, to steal the part of the title. And it takes a mad god to create something like this. As for favorite scene, I mentioned it earlier, just that weird plague doctor creature, with the flowy pieces of fabric that flow behind it as it moves. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like Henry Selick stuff, mixed with Tim Burton, because it's so creepy and weird, but just gorgeously beautiful in the haunting type of way. And just that when that creature showed up and took that crazy weird baby thing, and just the way it moves down the stairs and stuff, it's just it's just as haunting as any kind of supernatural creature you'd see in a regular horror film. It felt very Del Toro-ish too. Just the love, the attention, the love and attention that was given to something like that, beautiful, and all these weird, grotesque things that are happening around it. So that I don't know if that's a specific scene. It's more following a specific character, but I thought was just, I was like, I almost in love with that character.
I know. Me too.
Man, I want to create something as masterfully cool as that. I wish somebody would cosplay that. But anyway, that's probably the standout part of the film for me.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. So I didn't realize this movie was going to be divisive, and by divisive mean me. That's it. That's me. You guys are unanimous. Okay. So the imagination and the skill in this is undeniable. I mean, it is incredibly imaginative, and the visual after visual after visual, there's it really is painted on the screen here, and I appreciate that, and the skill that it took to do that. However, for me as a movie, it doesn't work. It fails. It just doesn't come together. It's slapdash to me. As a movie, as a story, as a narrative, and I wanted that. I need that. That's what I want. So this exhausted me after, the 10, 20 minutes. The novelty of what you guys are talking about for me wore off completely and absolutely. And then by the time, the people show up on the screen, and they're not there for long, but when they do, that was it. I was out. I was done. And this movie hurt my head. I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't fun. It was for the first 10 minutes. Okay, so when you watch this, you're kind of like, oh, what is this? What is this? But then after a while, my jaw was agape because I was yawning. I was bored out of my mind after a while. I did not like this movie. But I get it. It's me. I wanted something different, and but I didn't get. I just don't. Yeah, I think this movie misses on a big thing. It's if you use an analogy, Christopher, like you do with food, this is like all icing and no cake, and it has no substance in it. And sometimes people like icing.
I like.
I love icing.
But
That's my favorite part.
But if you have this icing, you're just gonna get
totally
sick.
with Christopher.
You're just gonna
no.
I'd rather get sick then.
Yeah.
And it's not a full cake. And
fill my hole and call me sick.
Yeah,
that's
so
what I'm saying.
you guys are going to throw me off my own show. You guys are literally. You guys are going to throw me off my own show.
We love this.
Please
you
put
guys
that on the Blu-ray.
you guys may even be surprised by this, but I'm giving it a 1. This is
what?
This is going to be at the top. This is going to be the top of my worst of the year. I will not revisit this film, and I cannot recommend it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Favorite thing is I'm going to go with when they started rolling the big pins over top of all the little furry critters.
Furry minions.
Yeah, they just died left and right. They were stupid. They were just like, I'm standing on the tracks. Boom! Like, idiot, get off the stupid track. I was kind of having a big giggle out of that. But, yeah, don't listen to me, people. This is what you learn.
No,
this is what you learn. Don't listen to me. Obviously, these 3.
People are definitely going to agree with you. I know there's going to be tons of people who are like, there's no dialogue. F that. There's, people, a lot of people are going to.
Well, the cool thing is it's going to be on Shudder.
Yes.
So if you have the Shudder subscription, you've already paid for your subscription to it, so you can watch all the movies on there, and you can check it out and see for yourself and see if you're if you're in what camp you're in, if you're in Doc's lonely camp or
lonely camp.
Or
you're in that sad, pathetic, lonely camp over there.
If you want cake, or you want icing.
Icing, yeah.
I want cake. I want cake and icing. I want icing.
If you want to
on my
fill
cake,
your hole with sickness.
Yes.
To quote Crystal.
What? Fill your hole with sickness?
Did you not hear that?
You didn't hear me? I said, well, fill my hole and call me sick.
That's why
I meant my mouth.
That's why I got broke.
I'm sure of that.
Broke me.
I broke you. I love.
All right,
You broke my animation.
we went long over because
this was so good.
had to beat me up, which I deserve. So it's that's our review for Mad God. It's on Shudder.
Yeah.
Check it out. You have Shudder, like Christopher said, so there's no reason not to give it a gander, as they say down here in this house. So let us know what you think. Leave your comments down below. I guess I'm off the Christmas list. All right, Crystal, Jeff, Christopher, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having us. This was awesome. You're not off my Christmas list, but you might be off of Phil's Christmas
Oh no, yeah,
list.
we've lost.
Obviously, yeah.
Well,
They'll poop on me.
How boring would this podcast be if we just agreed
agree.
on everything?
Yep. Agreed.
That'd just be boring. That's
I like it more when we don't agree. Honestly.
Yeah, every once in a while, like if we talk about, well, I'm not going to mention because Jeff's going to get on me. But anyway, there's just some films, a lot of
Hotel
us may
Hell.
like, and
Yeah.
some
Hotel Hell.
Shh.
Mm-hmm.
That's the film we should not name. Yeah.
All right. With that, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.